Hey guys, Nick here, and I knew the Lakers wouldn't be done, and wow. Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. In year 19, they are finally teammates. And the Lakers got Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn, so Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk, two young guys on this team. We were worried about the youth, and wow. I woke up this morning like, damn! This is crazy, you know. I was initially worried about the fit with LeBron and Westbrook, but you know what? I'm liking the fact that the Lakers are addressing their needs, and I'm liking the fact that they actually did add a couple young pieces, so it's actually not such a bad offseason. Now, before I continue, if you could consider doing me a favor and hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm, subscribing if you're new, and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads, I really appreciate your support from the bottom of my heart. Also, the links to my social media are down in the description. If you give me a follow, I'll follow you back, and if I haven't followed you back already, let me know, and I'll make sure that I will follow you back. So, let's get on with the content. So, Carmelo Anthony, sure, he may not be in his prime anymore. He's well past it. We know this. By the way, if you watch my Knicks videos, yeah, you see this hanging in the back where the Kobe jersey is. Yep, I've had this jersey since I was 17 years old. So yeah, that jersey's 10 years old. I still have it. Still looking pretty new, right? And yeah, while Carmelo Anthony is not the superstar he once was, he's not even an all-star anymore, but as a bench scorer, I like this a lot, especially as a spot-up shooter. We were worried about the Lakers not having shooters. The Lakers were one of the worst shooting teams this season. So Carmelo Anthony shot a career high from three at 41%. So I'm definitely loving him as a spot-up shooter. He's definitely going to come off the bench a lot more often than not, although I can see some games where he's going to start, and you know that the defenses are going to be focused a lot on LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and Anthony Davis, so Melo's going to get plenty of open looks, so I'm really liking this. So Rob Pelinka, is this the Avengers or the LA Lakers? You're pulling moves like it's 2K, and Melo can definitely also provide that for the Lakers in the playoffs too. And in this previous playoff run, game 1 he was 4 of 8 from 3, and game 2, yeah, that did not go well for him at all. He was 1 for 5 with just 5 points. Game 3 he was 4 for 8 from 3 again. He was 5 for 12 from the field, 17 points. Then game 4, not his best game, but definitely not terrible. 5 for 11, 2 for 5 from 3. That's pretty decent off the bench, but games 2 and 5 were the ones where Melo was just really bad. But the fact that 4 out of the 6 games he actually did alright, I'll definitely take it. So Rob Pelinka, good job. Even though the Lakers did get older, that's another downside. But the Lakers got Kendrick Nunn and Malik Monk, both guys that are still in their early 20s. So awesome. Malik Monk. Now, he didn't get off to a great start to his career, but last season he shot a career high from 3, shooting 40% on 5 attempts per game, and also a career high 11.7 points per game on 43% from the field. And another problem that the Lakers had was free throw shooting, and Malik Monk shot 82% from the line this season, and for his career he's shooting 84%, so at least the Lakers got someone who can actually make their free throws consistently. And then we bring in Kendrick Nunn. He did take a step back from last year statistically, but also in the playoffs, going into the bubble, he had COVID, and that really affected his play. And this year, while playing slightly more minutes, he was more efficient, but took less shots, so that's kind of expected, right? The last 2 months of the season, though, Kendrick Nunn really stepped up his scoring. And yeah, when we look at this, it says his defensive rating was worse in the last couple months as well, but you guys know that we don't evaluate defense based off individual defensive rating. We evaluate that by actually watching. And Kendrick Nunn made 38% of his threes this year. That's absolutely a positive. And also he shot 93% from the free throw line while barely getting to the free throw line, but still, for his career he's 88% from the free throw line. That's awesome. So the Lakers, what I'm thinking the starting lineup is gonna be as of now, and hey, I'm not Frank Vogel, so I don't know what he's thinking, but just off the dome right now for me, Russell Westbrook, Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Or maybe it could be Westbrook, Wayne Ellington, LeBron, AD, and Marc Gasol, although, like I said in my last video, Anthony Davis needs to play center. Marc Gasol is no longer a starting caliber player, so please, let's get Anthony Davis to start at center and play there a lot more often than not. Some stretches of AD at the 4 and Marc Gasol at the 5 is fine, or AD at the 4, Dwight Howard at center. A few stretches of that is okay, but I just don't want that to be the starting 5 or what we're going to see the majority of the time. So, with this roster that the Lakers have right now, honestly, unless the fit with Westbrook and LeBron is a colossal disaster, I don't see how the Lakers are not contenders. And if you want to talk about 2004, well, the pedophile and Gary Payton were past their prime, so can't really keep that in mind when thinking about if this is going to work or not. And as for 2013, well, none of the main guys on this team has back problems like Steve Nash did, right? And hopefully no one's going to get misused like Pau Gasol was that year, and no one's coming off back surgery, right? Although, yeah, Russell Westbrook has been banged up the last few years. Still, though, I think that in order for this to fail, it's going to take a catastrophe with the fit. And seriously, the Lakers' big 3 that they have now, it definitely does match up with the Nets' big 3. Do I think that the Lakers can beat the Nets? I think that they definitely could, but do I think it's a sure thing? No, definitely not. Now, how much is winning a championship this year going to change legacies for guys like Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony as guys that don't have rings? Well, it's definitely going to change their legacy forever, and it should definitely help their legacy. Of course, it won't put them over the top because they're doing it in supporting roles rather than as the lead guy. Well, definitely more so Melo. But it definitely does help them for sure. Even guys who were superstars in their primes but then won championships as role players like Dwight Howard with this team right here, or Gary Payton with the Miami Heat, or Jason Kidd with the Mavericks. Even though it obviously doesn't hold a significant amount of weight for them in terms of their legacy, at the very least it definitely feels good. As for LeBron, well, I still don't think it's going to put him over MJ, that's for sure. But of course it'll help his legacy, and the fact that he'd be getting Russell Westbrook and Melo their first rings, that would absolutely help his legacy. And the fact that he got Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, both players who have been labeled as not a championship player, a ring? Yeah, that would definitely hold a good amount of weight for him to, at the very least, move up a little bit in the all-time ranks. Even if Russell Westbrook is the 3rd best player now and Melo is just a role player coming off the bench, still, I know to some people he already is the GOAT. I don't think so, but do I think that winning a championship will help him be the GOAT now? No, but it'll definitely at least help his case. So overall, I've got to say, Rob Pelinka, good job. And also, it's good that the Lakers brought back THT for some more youth. So the Lakers got THT, Kendrick Nunn, and Malik Monk, 3 guys that I'm older than, and Anthony Davis is a little bit older than me, so it's not looking too bad in terms of age. Yeah, they got some guys that are fossils, or fossils is a little too harsh, but guys that are very much up there in age, like LeBron, Dwight Howard, Melo, Trevor Ariza. But now that they added Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn and held on to THT, I'm really not too concerned about age, at least certainly not as much as I was when I made my last video. So thank you guys for tuning in. Go Lakers. Hopefully the Lakers do dethrone the Celtics for most championships next year. I do think it's very possible. I don't think that it's a given. Nothing's a given, but it's very much possible as long as these guys are healthy and as long as they learn to play each other. The fact that they do have some shooters on this team to surround LeBron and Russell Westbrook, I'm definitely liking that. Also, a healthy Anthony Davis is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, which is something the Nets don't have regardless of if the guys are healthy or not. So, thank you so much for tuning in. If you could please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell if you're still here, that'd be much appreciated. I've done mostly basketball videos on this channel, but I've done some baseball content on here as well, and trying to get off my football hiatus sooner rather than later. So thank you so much. Feel free to let me know what you think down in the comments. I'll be glad to discuss with you. And also, one more thing I almost forgot to say. Andre Drummond, good riddance. I will definitely not miss you. Also, if you want to hear my thoughts on DeMar DeRozan to the Bulls, please let me know in the comments about that as well. I would be more than glad to make a separate video for that. So, alright, that's it. Talk to you next time. Peace.